We try to play new games as much as possible so we can talk about them.
So we're going to.
Talk about them.
Yes.
We each gonna present 4 games that we played this month, and we're gonna place them in 3 categories, either in my collection,
Yeah.
the good ones,
Stays.
in friends collection,
Stays in vicinity.
or other collection,
It's gone, baby, gone.
if the game is just not for us.
Yeah, it doesn't mean it's bad.
We're not smart enough to enjoy it. So let's jump to the first one. First one is Harmonies. Harmonies is about creating nature and making sure there is a place for animals there.
How do you create nature?
By picking up discs and placing them on this map.
You summarized everything that was taught to me in school for years in like one sentence.
Each round, you have to pick one pile out of these. Piles with 3 discs each. You have to pick them up and place them on your board. Sometimes you can combine them and put them up like this. Then you optionally can pick up an animal. If you have built a field that is the exact way that is drawn here, you
Yes.
can place an animal there.
Exact way that the animal wants to live. He doesn't want any nature, he wants this nature. The more animals you place from that card, the more points you're gonna get. You will also get points for the terrain, the way it's created, and then at the end of the game, who has the most points wins. Usually not me.
It's very similar to a Zoo or maybe Cascadia, mix of both for sure.
Yeah.
I'd put it in
Where would you put it?
at least friends collection for
Yeah,
sure.
okay. I would always play this if somebody suggests. I'm
Yeah.
not sure yet, I would.
I have to play a few more times. It's really nice to have to quickly pull out, but if you have like Cascadia already,
Would I play this over Cascadia? Probably not. Mine's also about nature
ooh, exciting.
and animals.
Okay.
It's Dune War for Arrakis. And you can place it any way you want. You can place it like this and it's the same thing. And you can place it like this, same thing.
Oh, those worms look good.
Here's some little sweet wormy worms. Well, not that little actually. I mean, they're quite big. In Dune War for Arrakis, 2 players or 2 teams of players battle it out. One player takes the control of Harkonnen, the other player takes Atreides and their allies, and each of them has their own specific goal. And the one who completes it wins the game. Essentially, you're collecting points, victory points, but you get them in different ways. If you've played War for the Ring, War for the Ring?
War of the Ring.
So actually nobody's fighting for the ring?
No,
Because I thought
of
they're...
the Ring.
Oh, wow, that changes everything.
No, it changed nothing. Great game.
This is very similar to that. It's actually by 2 of the same authors that did War for the Ring. You will roll a bunch of dice, and those dice will let you do actions. Recruiting new units, moving them around, playing cards, recruiting leaders.
Quickly rank this Rebellion or War of the Ring.
This, Rebellion, then War of the Ring.
In the opposite order. Correct.
No,
Let's
no,
go
no.
on.
No.
Next one.
No! Do you know how it's gonna be? I say it's gonna go in my collection, then you're gonna play it and you're gonna go like, yeah, Giannis, no, it's in my collection. Because you actually get to play this, unlike War of the Ring. Remember you did the whole video about that game?
Yeah.
And how many times you played it since you got it? Thank you. No more questions, Your Honor.
Next game. I want to paint the bases.
Sure, yeah.
And
I'm not ready. Blah, blah, blah. I mean, it's too humid in here to play War of the Ring. Frodo's feeling kind of tired in the mornings.
your Frodo is tired in the morning. You want to talk about that?
He's tired all the time. He can't deliver the ring.
Well, from fighting there, we're fighting here. Game I played is Orange Shall Overcome. It's about people resisting German army, trying to gather resources or more and more people on their side and going through different struggles. And one of the most interesting mechanisms here is that you can't freely move through the city without bringing suspicious. You always have to find like the shortest and sneakiest ways around, and you have to figure out, all right, at what points can I risk something to get something very important done. You have this morale that you can use as action, move or whatever, or play a card. The worse you do, the more morale you lose, which means it's more unlikely that you will do good in this game. And it's based on real things happening, real struggles, as well as you play real people with backstories. It has multiple scenarios that you can play as a campaign, or each of them separately, but all of them tell a great story, and I enjoyed it.
Mr. Michael Myers. This is a hidden movement game based on the Halloween movie series. One player plays the killer, and he is not on the board. Well, he is, but you can't see him. So he's marking his movements on this itsy bitsy crazy Excel sheet.
The element table from chemistry class.
It represents one-to-one the board of the game. And your goal is to kill the other player's characters. Because if you kill a character, the other player, he will take another one and continue playing. So nobody's really out of the game. And the other players are running around the houses, gathering stuff, and they're looking for keys to get into the car and drive away. And if they can manage to do that before they're killed, they win. And if they don't, they lose. Good guys can always be seen where they are on the board, but they never see the killer. If the killer is not seen, he can move in a straight line as far as he wants to. So if, for example, I'm in this corner, I can go like all the way there, unless I cross the line of sight of other players. It has that movie feeling where like, I think we're safe in this house. And then suddenly he's at the window and you're like, running away. Theoretically, you can kill him. That's another way to win, but please, have you seen the movies? Have you seen any slasher movies? The rules are very simple. It's easy to play. It takes less than an hour to play. But now I'm keeping this. It's a really great, simple hidden movement game.
Next for me will be Veiled Fate. You play demigods there, 8 of them, and you will control all of them. But you personally are just one of them. Does that make sense? And you want your god to win the game. You can control also opposition's gods and try to stop them from winning before you, but you don't know which god is whose and who's just a random god. What you can do on your turns is send these gods to do different missions and then secretly add one card to that mission's deck. When there's enough gods on that mission, you turn all the cards around and see, all right, did we pass or not? Because the cards you added are pass or not. And then you either get benefits or the bad things from doing that mission. Secret role game, which has really interesting twists, and it's actually really simple. It looks really neat and nice. I found it to be... interesting.
You're hesitating. He hesitated.
It's pretty good, but I wouldn't put it on my table, so I'll place it in other players' collection. It left me feeling like,
Now I have Animals of Baker Street. Isn't this the cutest spider you've ever seen?
look at that spider.
This is a story game where you are going through a campaign and you play animals that live on the Baker Street. You are remotely trying to help Sherlock Holmes, for example, in some missions. And we together will try to figure out where should we go, which of the locations we should visit. And then each of those locations will have a card associated with it. And then you will take your character and add it to the card of that location. Oh no, it doesn't match. Nothing matches there. Nothing would happen. I just lost a turn for us. And you have a certain amount of turns you can do. Each of the animals has their personal traits. We could go talk to the rats. And then one of us is really good at talking. So who should be going there?
The one who's good at talking.
Good! And then we place it and see if it matches. And then if it matches, we will read a passage. And sometimes you will send someone else and it does match, but you punch the rats in the face. And that was not the thing you were looking for. And it's this nice story-driven game that you should play with your family.
The last one for me. For me, for me,
For him, for him, for him, for him, for him, for him.
for me,
For him.
It's a big box. This got sent to us, Slay the Spire. Something that actually comes from a mobile or PC game
Or console
game. Now it's in the board game form. What it is a deck building game, a cooperative one, where you go through stages and try to defeat the bosses and get to the end. Defeat bad guys by playing cards, and then when you're done, you get rewards, which mostly means new cards. It's very difficult, and most likely you will die. The rulebook says that you will die.
Not you, actually, just your character, right?
It doesn't specify, so I don't know.
So play at your own risk.
It's a roguelike, which means if you die, you get new cards and can try again, now stronger. It's very addictive deck building. Digital version is brilliant, and the game is brilliant as well. While playing the game, you feel like you're the best board gamer ever. Until you die, and then you're like, next time, I'll be the best board gamer ever. For sure would be in our top deck building game top. So it's in my collection, and it's gonna stay there for a long time.
The Seventh Citadel. No, you didn't miss the previous 6 ones, it's just what it's called. It's a sequel to the Seventh Continent, which I used to love, but somehow don't anymore.
It was really tough to get to the table, especially after the first playthrough when you died and you realized that you have to play it again after 3-4 hour gameplay. And there's nothing new there.
That's the worst part. The worst part is not dying and restarting, but it's just like, oh, I already was in these places and I'm redoing everything. In the 7th Citadel, you are a gardener, slave gardener, that has escaped. And there are these huge underground worms that kind of drill through everything and then everything collapses. And the only way to fight them is to grow these blood plants. And you're one of the gardeners who are growing them. And the game starts off with the Citadel where you're being held captive, falling apart and you escaping. Spoilers ahead, so I won't be telling anything else. But essentially, it's a deck management game where you're going to be opening cards that are the board, and you can go and check those places on the cards and interact with them. Maybe it's going to be a skill check, maybe you meet somebody and you have to pick dialogue options, maybe you have to roll some dice to see what happens. But most of the time, it's going to be deck management where you have a hand of cards that you need to play to gain successes. That is also kind of your life points in a way. Each time you run out of cards, you have to rest, and that takes all your life points. What I like about this is that I can sit down, easy setup, and it takes me less than an hour for a session. And I feel that they have fixed the problem with resetting and dying, because this one's a bit more accessible. So far, I really like it. I'm gonna finish the first campaign minimum and then see if I keep it. But for now, it stays. I really enjoy the stories, even though the world is weird and quirky with all the worms. And I've been playing this exclusively solo, and I don't think I'd ever play it more than with 2 people.
Thank you. Those were the games that we thought worth talking about this month. We'll see you around, right?
We'll see you next month. And if you want to see more of us, you could support us and get that extra video every month that we do. And you can support us either by becoming YouTube members or on Patreon.